When we talk about holistic development, I generally equate it with Maslow's need hierarchy, wherein you have physical and you have security, belongingness, and esteem and self-actualization. I think the criteria for selection would depend on what level of hiring you're doing. The underlying assumption here is that a person's past situations help us judge how the person will behave in the future. I think when it comes to the job market, it's more to do with an emotional and social development. The person who has achieved the third stage of holistic development is kind of hireable, or it's somebody who can be groomed and developed into the role that he or she is taken into. When we talk about holistic development, I generally equate it with Maslow's need hierarchy, wherein you have physical and you have security, belongingness, and esteem and self-actualization. So I always feel holistic development goes in a similar fashion. You have what you call as the physiological or physical development, followed by emotional, and then the social connect, and then there is a larger purpose in life, a spiritual kind of development that happens, and lastly comes the cognitive development, which is more to do with problem solving, analytical abilities, and so on. And I think it's not as sacrosanct as a Maslow's theory, wherein one development has to be completed for the person to get into the next stage. I feel in holistic, it is more or less there is an overlap between these developmental stages. As sir, you rightly said, the interview or the interaction with the candidate is a few minutes, where you may not be able to judge all the aspects or all the developmental aspects. It depends. I think the criteria for selection would depend on what level of hiring you're doing. If it's a very base level hiring, what we probably look at would be, if the person is physically, mentally, emotionally, able to handle certain situations that the job might or work might get in. Having said this, how to analyze it, when we are interviewing somebody. So we have behavioral event interview techniques wherein you look at the situation, the past situations. I mean, the underlying assumption here is that a person's past situations help us judge how the person will behave in the future, right? So basically, you give certain situational aspects. First of all, the competencies for the role is defined, and you have questions and situations given to the person to understand whether the person is competent in each of these, aspects for which the job requires, and that gives you a faint idea of whether the person would be able to deliver the way he's supposed to. Having said this, it's not 100% guarantee, that whatever the person says is what happens in the actual job field. But this is one, way of judging and understanding the person's capacity caliber for that particular role. I think when it comes to the job market, it's more to do with an emotional and social development. Person who has achieved the third stage of holistic development is kind of hireable, or it's somebody who can be groomed and developed into the role that he or she is taken into. Uh, Getting a cognitive development in place is something, as a person grows in the organization, or when we do senior level hiring, we have certain situations given to the person which helps the understanding if he or she has the analytical ability, the problem solving ability, decision making, and so on. So it's a very relative term. It put it in a nutshell. It's a very relative term that holistic. A person cannot be a sarva sampanna holistic person. We have to really understand, where, what level we are hiring him or her for, and what is expected in that particular level. So these are few of my views. And when it comes to skill and talent skill, it's something person has to have in order to perform the basic task. But we also, when we are hiring, we look for talent. Something over and above the skill sets that the person has, which can help in keeping him more engaged with the organization, keeping him more engrossed in the work culture, and so on. So this is in a nutshell what my views are on what how development or holistic development plays a role in interviews and selection.